All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're pulling right back the curtain on the hidden mechanics of YouTube's success. We're going to break down the actual data-backed architecture of how modern creators take a super simple idea and turn it into a highly lucrative business engine. It's an absolutely fascinating ecosystem, and I'm really excited to guide you through the exact funnel top creators are using right now to capture attention and actually convert it into real revenue. Let's get right into it.
Okay, let's dive into this, because honestly, it is the ultimate question, isn't it? You've got channels putting in 40 hours a week, sweating over every detail, only to feel utterly ignored by the algorithm. They're shadow banned, stuck at 200 views, totally frustrated. But then on the flip side, you have channels pumping out seemingly simple formats that are quietly pulling in hundreds of thousands, or even $1 million a year. So what's the actual difference here? Well, spoiler alert, it's not just luck. It's a highly optimized system.
So here's our roadmap for today as we analyze this whole success model top to bottom. We'll start with the battle for the click, then move into choosing profitable niches, followed by mastering the explainer format, and finally, the most important part, converting those views to actual revenue.
Starting with Part 1, the battle for the click. It all starts with the basic psychology of why we actually click on things. It's called the information gap theory. Basically, this theory dictates that as humans, we have this incredibly powerful innate urge to fill the void between what we currently know and what we wish to know. It's like an itch we just have to scratch. And historically, clickbait has relied entirely on exploiting this exact gap. But here's the thing. Platforms are getting way smarter. They want to protect users from those deceptive bait-and-switch tactics that just waste time. And because of that, they've developed some incredibly advanced countermeasures.
And the architecture of deep learning systems like BaitRadar brilliantly illustrates exactly what modern creators are up against. Now, this algorithm doesn't just glance at your title. It simultaneously grades your title, your tags, your thumbnail, your video statistics, your comments, and, this is absolutely crucial, your audio transcript. It actually averages all these different models together to see if the true semantic meaning of your video actually matches the wild claims you made in your packaging. It is literally reading your script to see if you're actually delivering on that information gap you just opened.
And the really scary part for deceptive creators? BaitRadar operates with an astonishing 98% accuracy rate. I mean, it is ruthlessly efficient. So what you should take away from this is that cheap, manipulative clickbait is a dying strategy. To win at the top of the funnel today, your packaging absolutely must be compelling, but your actual content has to completely align with the promise you're making.
Moving on to Part 2, choosing profitable niches. Now, once you're past the algorithm, there is a stark contrast in your RPM, your revenue per mil, or what you make per thousand views, and it depends entirely on your audience. On one side of the spectrum, you might have a faceless niche doing ASMR toy unboxings. Sure, it gets massive views, but because the audience is primarily children, the RPM sits at around 50 cents. It's tiny. But compare that to, say, the educational sleep story niche. These are like 2-hour-long videos narrating geography or history just to help adults fall asleep. Because the audience is older and the watch time is incredibly high, the RPM there can hit $20. That is a night and day difference in your baseline business potential, based purely on the niche you decide to enter.
But you might be wondering, how do you actually enter these high-value niches without just blindly copying other people? Well, the golden rule here is this: steal the format, not the content. For instance, right now there's a huge niche using AI to turn old historical photos into these really engaging video compilations. You can absolutely take that exact format, but you need to apply it to a totally different topic, maybe internet pop culture or your local geography. Just remember to always add your own creative spin, and maybe a quick disclaimer that you're using AI to keep your channel safe. That originality is exactly what protects you from copyright strikes and helps you build a lasting, loyal audience.
Which brings us to Part 3, mastering the explainer format.
Now, what's really interesting here is how the absolute masters of this format use very specific narrative tropes to command our attention. Take the legendary channel CGP Grey, for example. He relies heavily on anthropomorphic personification, which is just a fun way of saying he uses stick figures in dresses patterned with flags to represent entire countries. It's brilliant. He also adopts this deadpan snarker tone to playfully point out logical fallacies, and he frequently delivers what's known as the hard truth ASOP, giving the audience sobering realities instead of just sugar-coated facts. And listen, these aren't just quirky artistic choices, they are highly calculated retention mechanics designed to keep you hooked.
A perfect example of this is his impartially reported analysis of the Machiavellian political theories from the book Rules for Rulers. He presents this incredibly dense, sobering concept about how dictators and democracies alike both require key supporters to maintain their power.
He notes, totally neutrally, that revolutions are often really just courts replacing kings, simply using the public's protest as a tool to do it. By tackling such heavy, complex, and potentially divisive topics with absolute clarity and a healthy dash of hard truth, you create fiercely loyal audiences. They respect your intelligence, and more importantly, they stay for the entire runtime.
And that leads us to our final step, Part 4, converting views to revenue.
Okay, so here is the absolute biggest trap creators fall into, chasing a massive, broad audience just for the vanity metrics. Honestly, having 3 million views is completely useless if those people aren't going to buy your product. If you are actually building a business, you need SEO relevancy, period. For example, if you're in the software space, a channel might target ultra-specific search terms like A2P or SMS marketing. Now, that video might only get 200 views, but because the viewer is actively searching for a solution to a highly technical problem, those 200 views are super high-intent qualified buyers. That is where the money is.
Let's move on and see how this builds a completely different traffic profile. A standard entertainment channel pretty much lives and dies on browse features, the homepage recommendations. But a highly optimized business channel? They might get 33% of their traffic straight from search, while browse is sitting way down at like 6%. What does this mean? It means the creator isn't trying to compete with MrBeast for attention. They are quietly dominating specific search terms, creating a reliable, evergreen engine for qualified software leads that literally runs 24/7.
So how do we actually capture that search traffic? You have to map out the ideal viewer journey. Step 1 is obvious, they discover you via SEO. But step 2 is where almost everyone gets it wrong. Most creators wait until the very end of the video to pitch their product. Instead, you need to offer a highly targeted, congruent lead magnet right at the average view duration mark, which, let's be honest, is often around the 2-minute mark for a lot of videos. Think about it. If your video is about CRM templates, pitch a free CRM template right when viewer attention is peaking. Then, step 3, capture their info.
So the crucial point is that implementing a congruent lead magnet early in the video doesn't just sound nice in theory. It dramatically changes the actual math of your business. Doing this can take your lead conversion rate from a respectable 5% up to 8%. Now, when you're dealing with a high-ticket product or B2B software, that seemingly small 3% jump in conversions is literally the mathematical difference between making $300,000 a year and hitting that $1 million empire mark. It really is all about capturing the intent as efficiently as possible.
And this brings us to some incredibly counterintuitive, yet absolutely vital business advice. Let's say you accidentally have a video go viral. Maybe it hits 3 million views, but it attracts the completely wrong demographic for your software. You know what you should do? You should unlist it. I know it hurts the ego, for sure, but protecting your algorithmic audience profile is essential. If the algorithm suddenly thinks your target audience is 13-year-olds looking for memes, it's going to completely stop serving your new content to the 40-year-old business owners who actually have the money to buy your software.
Which leaves us with this final provocative thought to consider today. I want you to take a hard look at your own strategies, or even just the content you consume. Are those millions of views actually driving a real business, or are those vanity metrics actively killing the true potential of the creator's funnel? The algorithm is just a tool, and once you truly understand the mechanics we discussed today, you can stop fighting it and start building your own empire. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, guys. I really hope it completely shifts how you look at the content landscape.